Now, I know we've had a conversation in the past, not necessarily in terms of topics of conversation, but in handling trolls early on. I remember you saying that you would, because it's something that's very difficult to fathom until you do it. It is quite easy to get flustered by people throwing stuff your way and whatever. Yeah, but you used to, I think I have to phrase it, not pre-prepare, but you used to think about comebacks and stuff like that. I remember you telling me back in the day, because you wanted to be able to keep your flow going or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I think, it's like the old comedian, isn't it? If somebody heckles you, it's having a response to that. Because hands up, it's been a learning process. I've done a lot of things in my life, but I've never been a YouTuber before. And it's funny, when I was on the True Geordie the other week, I said, I made a lot of mistakes when I first came into it, and there's a lot of good people that probably are riled that I didn't, including him. Mm-hmm. And he said, do you not think that's a little bit immature for a man in his 30s? I said, yes, it is. But I live my life by every day's a school day, and I've never been a YouTuber before. So, of course, I'm still going to make mistakes if I go into something else that I've never done before. So, and I used to see a comment in the live comments, and it would just be like a prick, and it would hurt, and I would go, and that was it, you're riled. And that, if people wanted to, they'd find videos of me doing that. Whereas now, I'd just be like, if I give you anything, you've achieved it. And it's like, fine, you remove them from the comments, or you ignore the live comments. And
muting comments has been a game changer for me on that, because I don't like the satisfaction that blocking people gives them, because you're giving them content when you do that. You're giving them a screenshot, and you're giving them something to move on. And I think I have a slightly different experience, largely than you seem to do, I guess, on the social media kind of things. I don't get too much bother by and large, but you do get it, and it's problem developing a thick skin. I think it's common advice, but it's very difficult advice to live up to, and it's something I've always struggled with in that regard. I mean, what's that? At your lowest points of that, you must think, what's the point? What am I doing it for?
It's quite ironic, because I'd say Liverpool supporters are probably the biggest help to me, and they probably don't like that because they were the biggest offenders. And I think it hit a crescendo last summer where there was a lot of nonsense being thrown around, and nonsense would be appropriate, which doesn't bother me. That doesn't, names don't bother me, but it was becoming, I think when there's a certain sort of movement against you that you feel is unfair, you've got to sort of look at yourself and see, well, I've obviously contributed to that. It's not all just because people are spreading lies, which is part of it, but also look at the way you're conveying yourself on Twitter and everything like that. And I looked at it, I thought, actually, you do rile everybody except for United fans. And I looked at it and I was like, well, if this is my low point, this is my low point. And I was thinking of coming off Twitter, and I was getting advice to come off it, and I was like, I don't like bullies, I don't like quitting. So how do you look at this? And the thing I got to, and I say it a lot, is rivals are good, but rivals don't need to be enemies. And I looked at the United specifics, and I thought, if you just tweet negative about every other club and positive about United, what does that do for you? Because you could have a Liverpool fan who is the best bloke in the world, and you're going to wind him up just because he supports Liverpool. I know there are United fans out there who are vile, but they support my club. Yeah. You need to learn from that, and that's what I did. So I will still wind Liverpool fans up, and I will still wind Chelsea fans up and everything like that. But it's not about doing it for any sort of hate or anything like that, which I think I probably did fall into that trap.
I think you see a lot of you find a lot of people. Let's use Donald Trump as the ultimate example of this. People who there's a mentality, I think, and people pull the shutters down when they start getting loads of hate and abuse. And there's a delusion that comes with it. And I think maybe it's like you're saving yourself to some self-protection, self-preservation. You're like, well, they're all bellends. And my saying's always been, if you reach a point where you think everyone else is a bellend apart from you, odds are you're the bellend.
Exactly.
And I think we see that. And let's not go specific. There's no sense in going to specific names on it, because we all know the names. There's people who again exist within our sphere, and they are constantly receiving abuse. And some of it goes too far. But you're right. I think I always would. You have to look at it. I think you do. You have to look at it and go, is it maybe me? Now, question though, does that make you more disingenuous in that regard? Is that are you therefore putting content out there that is the same, but it's done to specifically avoid that, or are you doing that because you?
I think it's a great question, because, and I would answer it and say I could easily double my followers, easily on Twitter by saying certain things. I know what to do, because if you're in it long enough,
that's amazing.
Yeah, you know, you know what works. You know, you know what works. And Arsenal have got a massive fan base, and I could very easily switch a switch and say, I don't like Arsenal because DT's the face of your channel and he's an idiot. And Arsenal fans would go, you know what? Not all of them, but they would go, yeah, he's right. I don't do that. It's one of the reasons, but actually, I think you're a bit of a banter club. So I exclude Arsenal fans from liking me, but although some will follow. So no, I think what it is I actually looked at it properly and was like, you know, do you actually hate all these clubs and have no respect for them at all? Well, no, that's not the case, because you are going to sit and watch Liverpool Bayern Munich. You are going to watch Spurs play Dortmund. You actually do quite like Pochettino. You do respect Klopp, even though he's managing a club that you don't like. That's the truth. Yeah. So I think if you stick to the real you, and when you do want to go in on something, just do it. Yeah. And if it backfires, it backfires. But at least you're being truthful.
The thing, this is the problem with social media. It's so immediate. Is that it's very easy now to put things, just something out there in the heat of the moment. People very rarely delete things off the back in, you know, when they've calmed down in the cool of a day. And of course, once you become a figure, though, and you'll have seen this more than most, is once you've committed something to being out there. People are stockpiling this stuff now. Yeah. People are ready for it. They go, cool, that'll come in handy. I'll get that ready for whatever. Does that ever? Do you find yourself caveating stuff a lot more, knowing that what you say could well be used as ammunition down the line?
I think there is so much stuff there, and I think if somebody wanted to look at your content, they could find a snippet that would be totally taken out of context and used. And I think if you start tailoring your content, you've almost got to go through back everything you've ever done and start using the old private button or something like that. So look, I think because of the way I do it, there is sort of that self-mocking anyway. You know, I don't take myself too seriously. I really take my football opinion seriously, and I think it is right, like everybody else does, but not to the extent that I'm like, you're wrong, I'm right, you know, I'm going to be totally right about this, because that's when you are going to get mocked. There is stuff where people will mock me, of course there is, but a lot of it, there's stuff that people put out there, and I laugh at it myself, and I think, yeah, they're making me look like a complete plonker, but actually, fair play, it's well edited.
I guess there's probably a degree to which, you know, if you know, working behind the pseudonym as well, there's a degree to which, when I say you created a character, I'm not saying that you are acting in what you do per se, but there is a degree to which if it's not coming back on your name, it's not dropping on your doorstep in quite the same way, then there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously,
if everyone's going to call you a nonce, then that's different, of course.
But look, I'm not going to lie and say that when you go live on a camera, you maybe hype it up 20%. My voice is very different on camera to what it is when I'm more relaxed, because you're an entertainer at the end of the day. Yeah. Am I an entertainer to such an extent that I'm a fake character? Well, clearly that's not the case. But you know, to repeat it, I think it really is just about being yourself, but also not taking yourself too seriously. Yeah. I think if you do those two things, they work quite well for me.
What do you think? I think it's fascinating, the world that we inhabit in terms of the social media and the reaction to football, because I think there's a generation now growing up and they don't understand that the banter isn't something that should be deadly serious. Like, I remember moving away to university, and every conversation I had with another lad was football related. You know, it was one of those things where you go to the first freshers nights, and the gents bogs in the university being massive, and it was a circle of lads stood around, careful, but you know, where you from? Oh, Chesterfield. And where you from? Oh, I support Aston Villa. And having a mad positive conversation. You wouldn't believe that actually genuinely exists, given the reactions to things online.
Yeah, you know what, it's right. I mean, I remember going to like weddings and stuff, and you don't know anyone because it's your wife's friends, and then, you know, you pop outside, maybe have a cigarette. I don't smoke anymore, but I used to, and it's just how it starts, I don't know, but then they're your mate for the rest of the night, and you're just chatting. It doesn't matter whether they're an Arsenal fan, because you've got that universal thing, which is football, which actually goes back to probably what I was talking about in the summer. Why are you being such a twat to everybody who's non-United fans? Because actually, you know, I live in Birmingham at the moment. A lot of people support Villa. I'll go into work on a Monday morning and chat 2 hours about Villa. I don't watch Villa, but it's very easy to... Football's very easy to get into somebody, because the strands are always the same. The manager, your star player's not performing, or he is performing, and you can relate to it very, very quickly without actually knowing loads about that specific football club. So, yeah football's you know, I love football. Yeah.